Welcome to the Digital Fashion Week, and welcome to today's session, Game Changer Contextual Commerce. Hi. Today's session is about the importance and the impact of contextual commerce, something that not a whole lot of people are accustomed to yet. So I want to shed some light on what contextual commerce can do for you. Now that's me. I'm David Spaeth. I'm Director Marketing at Novomind, a Hamburg-based software manufacturer for commerce and customer service software. Now, before I continue, I will move myself into the middle so we can basically see what is all around me. Now, when we're looking at conversational business, that is basically the biggest headline that we can have when we talk about conversation plus business. Now, usually people know about conversational commerce. Whenever you go and purchase something, when you talk to a clerk, a business person, whether it's offline or online in a shop, that's what we usually consider conversational commerce. Now, in a bit of a closer circle, we have the digital commerce. That means anything outside a brick and mortar shop, meaning online, whether it's your web shop, a marketplace, and so forth. And around me now, there is a couple of headlines that you probably know, whether it's multi and cross-channel commerce or e-commerce in general, omni-channel. That is, just the definition of additional touch points that you might have within your channel split. But if we look to the side now, we have mobile commerce with sort of a horizontal split with contextual commerce, because contextual commerce really digs in all areas. To break down these two words is rather simple. It is commerce, so doing business with people, exchanging money versus services or goods, and context, giving people context in what they're doing. And I will step right in and give you a pretty straightforward example. Look at me right now. My context is pretty simple. I'm in the midst of black, which really means not a whole lot. But I can change my context and make it look like this, for example. In this context, I would probably feel much more comfortable in these clothes than I would just a second ago, just standing out there in the middle of the rain wearing the standard clothes that I do. Now, there could be something different though. What about I stand in something what I'm looking forward to in spring and summertime? That would change my context dramatically. Much better, you see? In this context of sunny, warm weather, I would feel much better in these clothes that I'm wearing right now. Now, we can spin this just a few more examples forward, because it is really about the empathy of trying to get you to understand how people would like to feel in a specific context. Now, take this group of people, for example. Now, I feel probably pretty okay amongst these guys, simply because I wear the same kind of polo shirt, okay, despite the fact that they all have partners with them and I'm here by myself. However, in the context of people more or less around my age, wearing more or less the same clothes that I feel or that I have, I feel pretty okay. It could change though. Now, if my context changes, for example, to a different group of people, to a different environment, I might feel, not as comfortable or even more comfortable depending on my environment. Now, with this guy next to me, I'm still perfectly fine, and also within this group of people. What I'm just trying to point at is that the context of my surrounding, how I appear with people, how my environment reacts to me, and how I can talk to these people has an impact of how I feel. So there's empathy asked for, in the meaning of how can I reflect to others and how do others reflect to me. And this is also part of the contextual experience. Now, after these practical examples, let me jump back into a little bit more of the theory. When we look at the traditional e-commerce, you have the traditional customer journey, where you have a rather traditional step through the marketing awareness creation, throughout the decision-making process towards ideally a purchase, where in each one of these steps of the traditional e-commerce customer journey, you have the possibility of a conversion killer that, there's a rip-off between the one step and another. And only if all these steps are successful in their way of execution, you actually have a successful conversion and therefore a deal that concludes in the order summary or the checkout. Now, shoppable content already takes a shortcut from the marketing campaign in terms of the awareness. You can jump straight into the shopping cart, which is already great because you're saving a lot of effort, time, and money in the interest and consideration phase, and also into the evaluation, because you trigger the emotion, and that is usually in the emphasis and also the context where I am. So the better the context is of the shoppable content, the higher the conversion rate will be. Now, contextual commerce takes it to a whole nother level, because there, from the awareness of my marketing activities, my customer will go straight into a decision phase right in the shopping cart, getting the order summary and making the deal. How does this look like? As an example, I brought Puma, one of our clients, huge, of course, in social media and influencer marketing, and they would have Instagram advertisement or Instagram stories. Within these stories, they would have tagged products, as in this case, the Future Rider Neon. I can just tap on this product. I get more information. If I really want to dig into the information, I'll be taken out of Instagram onto the Puma article detail page on the Puma shop. From there, it is very simple, more the traditional case. I'm picking size variation or color variation if there is. I'm getting the basket, and from there I proceed to the checkout. You see, I started in one app, being the context of Instagram, so social media. Then I switched the application, or basically the shopping scenario, towards the Puma website, and I conclude in a checkout rather traditional. This is already great, but you can take it even one step further, again, giving it more context and keeping the people in the app where they are. Now, this is a beta phase done in the US, where within the Instagram app, I can just tap on a product like this Feel My Blazer. I pick the size that I need, and I can immediately press on purchase, and the conversion will be done immediately. Much better, because I'm not changing the application, I'm not changing the context where I am, so you can be reassured that this conversion will be very, very quick. At this point, let's have a look at the technical realization of this specific shoppable content, or even better, contextual content. I took the example of so-called leveled or context layers. And many people, are into sports. So I took the example of a fitness tracker. Now, within a product information management, I took the case of our novomind iPIM. We have different context layers. Now, for each buying persona, I can define different context layers. So if I take the example of Silke, who might be huge in sports, but she might just be a little bit afraid that she kind of overdoes it. She wants to be monitored. Then we could have a description for that fitness tracker to say that's a fitness tracker that continuously monitors your heart rate. We might have another person, Kelly, who would like to be, a bit more prestigious with her fitness tracker. So for her, the context would be bling bling. I want to be standing out of the crowd. So as the description, it could be for Kelly, a fitness tracker that lets you stand out of the crowd as you like. So for each and every one of these buying personas, we can define different content within their context. It's rather simple. What just that you need to do is define buying personas, and already you can have a step towards personalization in the context that a specific person requires. Personalization is super important. Everybody's been talking about this for years, but not a lot of people know how to actually do personalization, because they don't know their buying persona. They don't know the person who is going onto their web shop or into their social media app to go and purchase. This is why I chose to give you a very simple example of personalization through segmentation. Now, the modern shops, modern e-commerce systems like our novomind iShop, they can take a lot of data from the person visiting an app or a shop. They can detect the device somebody's coming from, whether it's a desktop device or a mobile device. They can see the manufacturer of the device, whether it's an Apple device or an Android device in terms of the operating system. They can see where the search was coming from, let it be by Yahoo or Google. They can take geolocation. They can see whether you're coming from an affiliate partner, for example, a price comparison platform. So all of these things can lead to the fact that you put these segments into the context of personalization. So an Apple user might have different buying persona interests than an Android user. I am, for example, a huge Android fan, and I would not be in the segment of Apple users. So just that would already define a specific segment in the personalization journey that would be responsible for the context that content is delivered to me as David. Now, if we combine these things, context, buyer personas, segmentation, and personalization, we can add these things on top of one another. I have the buying personas that I was just talking about, Silke, Kelly, there's also Carol and Mary. We have different touch points. Those could be marketplaces. This can be social media. This can be your own web shop, of course. And when we combine these different things, we come to the conclusion that with the combination of a smart e-commerce platform plus smart product information management, we can give this whole shopping excitement the context it requires. Because keep in mind, a web shop or a marketplace is not the only shoppable content deliverer. We do have Alexa, we have Siri, we have Google Assistant, we have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and there's so many more coming up. For each and every channel, it is possible to give the exact correct content for the people within their context. And again, what does that mean? You know, me standing here in a black polo shirt, if I use Alexa for my shopping, I would need to have voice assistance, right? So the information coming from Alexa when I'm looking for my next black polo shirt would need to be different than the information I get in the context of being on Instagram, because there would be a visual experience with a tagged piece of information that I can tick. Or Facebook might be another whole other video, for example. And again, all of these items that you see around, whether it's the nationality, the country, the application, the app, it all plays into the context of contextual commerce. And if you play these things right, you're going to have a huge conversion boost because you find empathy with your client. All right, now I'd like to wrap this up. After a couple of practical examples and some technical background, I would just basically like to summarize that we as novomind, as software manufacturer, we've got all the tools you require to be successful with contextual commerce. We have a context layer enabled product information management. We have an e-commerce platform with novomind iShop that allows real-time personalization or segmentation, either way that you like. We have the possibility with novomind iMarket to connect your business towards the touch point of marketplaces around the world. And with novomind iAgent, we actually have a customer experience platform that allows that great user experience beyond the actual checkout. For the time being, I hope this was good information for you. Please do get in touch with me. I would love to continue our conversation beyond the Digital Fashion Week. Get in touch with me. Let's get you into context and let's get you started with contextual business. Thank you very much and thanks for watching.